This is He Knows Everything, bringing you that heat far. We keeping a foot on the wall. Eeks. We keeping a foot on the wall. Eeks. Let's talk about it, man. Terence Bud Crawford. He gets no sympathy over here, man. He gets no, basically what we would say, empathy. You lay in your bed, you gotta sleep in it, man. Terence Bud Crawford has allowed himself from a plantational mindset to be duped by Bob Arum, to be done up by Bob Arum, to allow himself to find himself in a precarious situation with Bob Arum. He Knows Everything can't feel sorry for him. Terence Bud Crawford is now wanting to sue Top Rank after so many years of Top Rank basically letting him know he can't sell a chicken dinner, let alone a cookout. That he was a boring fighter. Top Rank is not going nowhere, guys. They're gonna keep being what they are, what they've always been. Terence Bud Crawford should have known this, but he chose ignorantly. He chose through naivety to sign with Top Rank. So he has to deal with the ignorant and the naive fact and actuality of the fact that you get what you sow. You reap what you sow. And whatever you put into it, that's what you get back. Message that I'm constantly learning, even myself, on a day-to-day basis. We all have to learn these messages. We all have to carry our own cross. Listen, Andrew G. Williams said it best. And it's very clear. And it's a very clear indication. Excuses are the tools of the incompetent and are used as bridges that leads to nowhere and the monuments of nothingness. Let Andrew G. Williams and let him say it again, because he said it and He Knows Everything is going to regurgitate what he said because it was so deep and profound. Excuses are the tools of the incompetent that are used to build bridges that leads to nowhere and the monuments of nothingness. And the reason why Andrew G. Williams said this, and it was so profound and it needed to be basically regurgitated by He Knows Everything, is because this is an excuse. An excuse has a 0-meter range. We've said this before. Terence Bud Crawford should have known what he was signing himself into. Notice all of these boxing community fan bases, they're apologizing for Terence Bud Crawford. Could you imagine if Earl the True Spence had found himself in this precarious situation? Do you think they would have apologized for him? It's things that make you say, Do you honestly think they would have apologized for him? It's things that make you say, they wouldn't have apologized for him. So keep that same energy, dog. Let me say it again. Keep that same energy, dog. If y'all are going to sit here and apologize for Earl the True Spence, then why are y'all apologizing for Terence Bud Crawford? Terence Bud Crawford, that found himself in the precarious situation of Top Rank's range. So he didn't know that Bob Arum was pimping and using and dismantling fighters in the past. He screwed Oscar De La Hoya over. He screwed Manny Pacquiao over. He screwed Timothy Bradley over. He screwed Floyd Mayweather over. How many examples does a barking Chihuahua need in order for him to come to the conclusive state? It took his sister to step up and do the very manly thing that Terence Bud Crawford couldn't fucking do himself, which is to stand up to Bob Arum. And even then, when that happened, he sat his sister down. He told his sister, you were wrong. You were erroneous for that. You shouldn't have done that. How long? How much is it going to take? And how much is needed for you guys to come to the conclusive, the finality, and the totality mindset and state that Terence Bud Crawford's problem is Terence Bud Crawford's problem and nobody else? He lay in your bed, you got to sleep in it, man. We all, when we lay in our beds of the issues that we put ourselves into, we have to sleep in it. This is a message even I myself have to follow. Because I myself fall short of the glory of God. I myself am not perfect. None of us are perfect. And when we lay in our beds of the decisions that we make, we have to deal with it, man. We have to deal with the consequences. Whether if it's a good consequence, a bad consequence, whether if it's a good recompense or a bad recompense, we have to deal with the decisions that we have made. Now, Terence Crawford is somewhere regretting. I should have listened to Al Heyman. I should have signed with PBC. I should have gotten my freedom papers. Andrew G. Williams talked about that. Remember, he made a profound statement. Excuses are tools of the incompetent and are used to build bridges that leads to nowhere and are monuments of nothingness. This is some deep fucking sayings here, man. And he knows everything has to say it again because number 3 means the number of confirmation. How much confirmation did Terence Crawford need when he signed with Top Rank the first time? Do you know that Terence Crawford did 3 signings? So he signed his fate over 3 times. He did an initial signing. He did a re-signing. And then he did a try-signing. Now, there's an old adage and an old saying that says, fool me once, shame on you. Or fool me twice, shame on me. Terence Crawford was fooled 3 times. Well, we're going to add to that saying, we're going to say, fool me a 3rd time, then I deserve the fool's gold. Let me say it again. Fool me a 3rd time, then I deserve a fool's gold. Terence Crawford is the fool here. He had the opportunity to sign with PBC. He had the opportunity to sign with Al Heyman. Would he have been in this precarious situation if he did that? Why are boxing community fan bases running to the sympathy and the empathy of Terence Crawford? Why all of a sudden they're crying for him? Why all of a sudden are they apologizing for him? Why all of a sudden are they making this whole we're going to stand for our brother type of situation here? Terence Crawford didn't stand up for you guys. He didn't give 2 licks about you guys. He didn't give 2 flying cows fucks about you guys. Now that he's in a precarious situation with Bob Arum, now that he supposedly left Top Rank, I'm still waiting for that one. Because that is not official until we have official documents that tells us that he actually did. We heard verbiage that Terence Crawford said, but when a fighter says something, unless there's actual verifiable proof, there's actual authorizable and confirmable proof, there's actual proof in of itself, then we take it as a grain of fucking salt. That's what we got to do in this situation. We got to take it as a grain of fucking salt, because there's nothing there that tells us that he actually did what people are saying that he actually fucking did. Now let's go even further, because we got to pierce this even further. Terence Crawford, because I have to mention this, because I want people to see this for what it is, had opportunities to listen to Floyd Mayweather, who was telling him for a long time, for years, Bob Arum will screw you. Floyd Mayweather has not recouped the money that he's lost from Bob Arum. I mean, how much does this Omaha, Nebraska dumbass fucking Negro that's missing a few fucking screws need to get it in order for him to really see that he is his own demise? He is his own folly. He is his own fool. And him being his own fool, he deserves a fool's gold. See, in life, we all make decisions. And we all have to deal with consequences that are associated behind our decisions. Now, some decisions we make, whether if it's a first-time offense in the decisions that we make, if we make a first-time offense, God will pardon us. Because it was shamed on the other person and not us. And that first time offense gives us an opportunity to learn from the lesson that we make. Now, when it happens the second and the third time, this is no longer a first time offense. This is recurring behavior. This is premeditated continuum behavior. Now, not to say that the first time offense wasn't premeditated, but there's a pardon that happens with the first time offense. But the second time and the third time, now you know purposefully what the fuck you was doing. So now you have to really suffer and deal with the ultimate fate of what you were fucking doing. This is how it rolls, man. This is how the dice rolls. We all have to deal with these decisions in our lives. Well, Terence Crawford has to deal with this with the Top Rank debacle, the Top Rank Strange. He knows everything called this shit Top Rank Strange. There's a lot of people that have fell up under this banner that have been screwed over, especially black fighters. Mikey Garcia himself went through a long litany of court back and forth issues. Will Terence Crawford turn out the same? Will Terence Crawford end up not having to deal with the same precarious situations that these guys have dealt with? That remains to be seen. Why is HeKnowsEverything saying all of this? Because it's very clear, and people need to understand this for what it is. When it's all said and done, we all have our beds that we have to lay in. And we all have situations in life that we put ourselves into. We all have what's called precarious situations that we have to deal with. And we all have a funny thing of us having to deal with the actual fact, the actual resolution, and the actual identity that's associated behind our decision making. Terence Crawford's decision making was simple. For him to basically allow himself to continue to get screwed by Top Rank. Now, is that a fault of anybody else or this guy not paying attention, not reading the fine line? Terence Crawford strikes me as that Negro that's like Lauren on Power. What did they say on Power? And Power was very clear. Power basically talked about how you know the difference, the differentiation, the identity and the association between someone who actually reads what they're supposed to read and someone who doesn't. Did Terence Crawford read the fine line? Did Terence Crawford read, in actuality, what he was supposed to read? Lauren didn't read the fine line. So because Lauren didn't read the fine line and the blueprint of what she read, she was accused of it and she felt the actual fate of it. This is the biggest hot pocket situation here. This is the biggest finality and the totality and the resolution fate of it. And this is why Terence Crawford has found himself in a precarious situation. In life, you gotta read the fine line. You gotta read the fine blueprint. And you gotta know what you're getting yourself into. Because absence doing this shit, you're gonna find yourself in a precarious situation. So HeKnowsEverything leaves with Andrew G. Williams' quote and sayings again. Excuses are the tools of the incompetent and are used to build bridges that leads to nowhere and monuments of nothingness. This is deep. This is profound. Let this marinate in your corpus callosum and in your cerebellum, and let this marinate in your medulla oblongata. Because when it's all said and done, Terence Crawford's situation is because Terence Crawford chose the continuum of the situation. So do we feel sorry for him? Stop the presses and pump the brakes on the nonsense. And go sit down somewhere and what? Higgity fucking hush. I keeps the foot on the what? Eggs. I keeps the foot on the what? Eggs. P.S. If Earl the Truth Spence was in this position, would you guys keep that same energy, dog? Let me say it again. Would you keep that same energy, dog? You guys would. So again, stop the presses and pump the brakes on the nonsense. And go sit down somewhere and what? Read Higgins, fucking hush. Ari keeps the foot on the what? On Higgs. Ari keeps the foot on the what? On Higgs. Andrew G. Williams. Salute, man. You get the biggest salute of the damn day for the most powerful saying that he knows everything's ever heard. This is He Knows Everything. Check it out.